Exercise, the process of physical exertion to maintain or increase mental or physical health. And with the restrictions looming in our future that seem to go over the horizon, it's got a lot of us questioning, what is exercise? For some people, it might be a walk around the block. For some people, it's casually running a marathon. Yep, those people exist. For others, it's cycling. For others, it's an e-bike. But what about a motorbike? I know a lot of people will say, yeah, okay, if you've ever ridden a motorbike, either off-road, although this is technically a greenway road, so it's accessible by cars. There was an exhaust back there. But off-road sort of bumpy stuff, not on smooth, or pushing it on a track, you know that riding a motorbike is physical exertion. But a lot of the naysayers will say otherwise. The engine does all the work. So what we're going to do here is just go take a run up this lane, get bounced around by the rocks, fight around 130 odd kilos of machine, and see how much we get up there. I mean, even at the bare basics, it's going to be a load of squats going up and down on the seat. But just to prove it, I will use my time teller, because it is 2021 and we can use these to track our exercise. So I'll tell it we're cycling because it doesn't know anything else. I'll make sure it's notched to pick up heart rate. I don't know if you can hear me breathing already, but even the little bit of lane to get up here was difficult. It was a good warm up because the actual travelling to come to where I'm exercising was quite cold, just sitting at sort of 30 odd mile an hour. Oh, come on. Having no kickstand hasn't helped. I've got to lie the bike down to get through gates, which means the fuel runs out and it doesn't want to go again. Come on. Don't be a pig. There we go. No, I don't pretend to be any good off-road, which tends to make it more difficult because I'm probably going to get stuck or lay the bike down and have to pick it up. Thank you. It's been a while. Fuck. Oh Christ. What was that? 140 BPM. I've barely been moving. I gotta try and get through the gate without a kickstand. Oh God. Oh, for fuck's sake. Having a kickstand definitely makes life easier. Stop pausing. Sure, it's probably easier if you're good at riding. Take the breather while you can. Well, they all look like car tracks, cock ends. Oh, fuck off. Right. That's it, that's one lane before we can have a cool down. I'll stop this. 140, 50 BPM up there immediately within a few minutes. My arms are starting to pump because I'm not fully warmed up, but we can run this. And as you can see, unlike with the cyclists who can sort of go pretty much anywhere, motorbikes are restricted to what are technically roads where you could get an off-road vehicle, so there's no massive stress on the small chance that you do have an accident, and then an even smaller chance that you sustain injuries, and a smaller chance that those injuries mean you can't get yourself out, limp out with an engine, then they drive down to you. It's, yeah, cyclists go off, they get loads of places to play, and they can really be in the middle of nowhere. And there was one in the last lockdown with some broken bones, ended up going to hospital. There'll probably be more because, unfortunately, with the restrictions on exercise, a lot of people that weren't runners or anything, at least in lockdown 1, went out and just bought a load of bikes. So if you're going to come and do this and you're going to ride a motorbike, you have to be trained, you have to be examined, you have to be licensed, you've got a plate on so you're accountable. There's just a lot more safety procedures in place before you even get to come out here and get yourself gassed out. Oh wow. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have a drink, because always bring hydration and toolkits in case anything does go wrong. It just seems to be part of the culture rather than jumping on a pushy and going and seeing the fields. Catch you in a bit.
Right, I just want to say this is not an attack on cyclists, it's just a point of comparison, because no one seems to have an issue seeing cycling as exercise. And as we showed here, a motorbike's probably going to hit you a bit harder and is safer given the current climate. In fact, since filming this, there's been enough issues with cyclists that there was a public appeal made out, because a couple of them were out in really remote areas and had injuries that required a joint emergency service response. We've had helicopters and all sorts going in. It gets a bit complicated, which is not ideal in the current climate. Now, as for the lane you've just watched, it was the first one going up, and like I said at the start, it's fairly steep, but the video doesn't do it justice. We climbed the best part of 160 odd meters there. I'll put the stats up on screen. You can see we averaged 135 BPM, maxing out at 153, and I'm sure you could hear I was out of breath, which isn't bad for sort of 10 minutes over less than 3k. Vigorous heartbeats up at 6 minutes, moderate at 2 minutes, and that was just this lane there. Once I got warmed up, I went out and hit a few more linking together, and managed to hit the magic 200 BPM. And averaging 129, so it's 4 minutes in the maximum sort of heart rate, and really burning off, an hour of vigorous and an hour 22 of moderate. I don't think there's really much arguing with the numbers there, but like I said at the start, it's all scalable with exercise. For some people, a walk around the block or a flight of stairs is, you know, pushing it a bit, whereas others, they do like to rack up the miles running or cycling. Different strokes for different folks, isn't it, really? So it could be scalable. Now, for me, I ride a bike daily, and getting out, just going to work on tarmac, I wouldn't consider that exercise. And I think that's where a lot of people sort of compare it to. If you don't ride a bike, or you're only riding it sort of on the roads, or you're trying to compare it to your driving a car, then it's going to be a difficult comparison, isn't it? But there we go. Anytime someone complains and says the engine's doing all the work, it isn't exercise, show them this video, tell them to pipe down, and crack on with their life. Thank you for watching. Drop a comment down below. Give me your thoughts, on whichever side of the fence you are. Stay safe wherever you are. And if you haven't already, subscribe. We'll see you next time.